the eastern side, conquering places like Iraq and Turkey, and finally into what is now India, what was then India before it was divided into Pakistan and India. There are people at that time in India known as the Dravidians. The Dravidians were a black people with curly hair who were pushed by Alexander the Great.
In half a mile, take a slight left turn onto Hawaii Avenue Northeast.
Into the hill country of India, area known as Madhya Pradesh. And these are the people who really established the religion we call Hinduism.
And what year was this? Around?
We're talking about around 250 BC. They established it. They were black people. And because they're in hill country in Madhya Pradesh, Alexander was afraid to move into that area because these are the mountains. And they knew nothing about the mountains. And had they gone into those mountains to do battle with the Dravidians, they would surely have been conquered. And Alexander would not have sat down and cried because he said, ostensibly, I cry because there are no more worlds to conquer. They conquered him.
They would have conquered him.
They would have conquered him.
Wow.
So that's where India gets its true religion, Hinduism. And not the religion, the popular religion that sees Harijans. And Harijans are those people who later known as the Untouchables.
So how did it go from Hindu to then Muslims primarily?
Well, Islam came into India at around the 14th, no, earlier, much earlier than that. The 9th century A.D., about 961 A.D. in fact. Under a warrior whose name I cannot recall at the time. They embraced Islam. They did not. The Islamists did not have a reason to fight them and to kill them because they embraced the religion. But the Muslims swept down through places like India, Iraq, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, they made a left turn over into Africa.
What were they doing in Turkey and Iraq before Islam?
They had the national religions. Whatever those religions happen to be. Remember now, people have always had religion and religious ideals. Yes, religious ideals. Before incursion of the great religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism, Islam, they had their own forms of religion. But the great religions, so-called, had such a compelling message, and many were forced to accept those messages, including Christianity, that you hear more about the enforced religion more than you do their previous religion. Same thing in Africa. Africa had many religions, and some were major religions, like the cult of Oba. So
what was the the religions that the Native Americans had or just religions across the world that, like you said, became before the classic great ones, as you mentioned.
yes.
Is it surprising that they kind of all had a similar thing? They weren't that far away from each other, or were they like drastically different from each other?
In a similar experience.
Yeah.
No, I would say that all religions that I know about, I've come across, in the final analysis, look to the one creative energy that they and we call God. All of them. Even the most, what's this? Primitive religion. And by meaning by primitive, the first religion, have their idea of God. So they call it Ogum, Shanti, Oba. There's a supreme entity.
Would you say that even people who say they are, those who say they are atheists, by saying they're atheists, are almost creating religion?
Well, atheist does become a god. I'm an atheist. Okay, so you're a Christian. What's different? I don't believe in God. Well, I don't believe in a non-God.
So you both agree to believe in something.
That's right.
Or nothing.
And whatever you call this is really of no consequence.
So people are hung up on naming religion.
Yes.
Or even, actually people are hung up on God, right? Calling it God.
Yes.
Some people say, I don't believe in God. I believe in science.
Good.
Well, so science is your God.
That's your God.
And so that you're a scientin. You're like a Christian, but you believe in science over God.
That's right.
And you have the right to do that.
And eventually you'll come to the point where you realize that science is God. God is science.
Is.
Yes. There's nothing was created outside of it.
So there's no need to, whatever people believe in, they believe in.
Right, John.
And that is what it is. Not right, not wrong. It's whatever.
That's right. Because you have the choice, or not, even the choice not to believe in anything. Not believing in anything is also believing in something. So you can't get away from it. I am that I am. So eventually you come down to the allness of the isness, which is I am.
You think I've been hearing that we've talked about, we've talked about that whole Mayan calendar thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you've kind of expressed that you feel like it's not the end of the world, but a change in consciousness.
Yes.
And I was listening to a couple different podcasts, and they were saying the same thing, and they were talking about even, you can say, when you say change of consciousness, the fact that the whole world, almost the whole world, has access to the internet, and so now has access to the struggles of people from their point of view, as opposed to a media source. The people in Israel and Palestine and the different warring areas. You're hearing firsthand accounts via social media, and therefore that's changed the consciousness, because it used to be you had to wait for the news to tell you the story. Now you're hearing the story, and people are motivated or inspired or outraged by a lot of the acts. So that could almost be a change of consciousness, the social media piece, huh?
Yes, sir. Whatever it will play, social media will play a huge part in the changing of direction, the changing of consciousness.
Do you believe that what is it, the 21st? I forgot the date.
21st.
Is that a real? You think that's a specific real date? Do you think what do you think was going to happen?
The 21st of
numerically, what's going on numerically? By the way,
the 21st of December is always a very propitious time, because that's the time of the winter solstice. That's the time when night equals day. As much as light and day are equal. There's also a time when solstice, the sun standing still. It's a time when the ancients worshipped the heavens. And this is the time where the ancients knew the power of standing still. Because the planetary system was standing still. Solstice. Sun standing still.
Anything people should be prepared for on the 21st? Or would you just stand still and pray?
Stand still is what you need to do, is stand still. It's not a lot of running around, buying out grocery stores, the necessary items you may need, like food and shelter and clothing. Decreeing and prayer. Would have always been the remedies for uncertainty. Stand still.
Stand still.
And know that I am God. Who is God? I am.
And what do you say that for people who never heard that before? What do you say when people say, what are you saying?
My brother, tell them I would advise you to stand still in that time and see for yourself.